Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your other Shorty, and I'm going to review Batman Gargoyle of Gotham. This is one I've been looking forward to for a while. We got sent like a little Ashcan preview of it a while back, and I flicked through it and I found it to be absolutely adorable. I didn't read it in its entirety though, because I wanted to experience it as like the full story and get everything I was going to get from it, so I waited. And now I've got it, and I'm glad I waited because it is absolutely brilliant. There's an awful lot I like about it. I'm actually going to start with the one little minor criticism I've got, because then I can spend a lot longer just telling you how amazing it is. And that is when it comes to the writing, Raphael Grampa, who's doing the artwork as well, tends to lean a little bit too heavily into kind of like gothic and highfalutin language. And I don't mean that to be like a trying too hard or it's incomprehensible. It's nothing like that. There are times when I think there is room to cut some stuff out or to focus a little bit more on moving the story on. And none of it is 100% unnecessary, but I don't think it adds enough to be justified as much as there is in there. Now, that's not to say I dislike the writing. There's some fantastic moments in there of characterization. The dialogue is absolutely superb. The noir narration really, really adds to it. And even some little bits of almost surrealistic kind of takes on what's happening in the world from the characters within the world. Great. He does a fantastic Gordon, he's just brilliant. Jim Gordon as like an actual captain or a commission, is brilliant. This is set in the early years of Batman, so you've also still got Alfred around, and he writes fantastic Alfred. And the story is great. There's an awful lot of moving parts to it. There's an awful lot of bits and pieces here and there which are going to come together, hopefully, in this conclusion, including one character who's kind of new, who seems to be a woman who works for, I think, an NGO or something like that, who spends several pages just calling out the fact that crime fighting in Gotham is very much about protecting the wealthy, and gets fired from her job because of it. And we don't really get much of a payoff for that sequence. It's fantastic, it's well written, and there's some great tricks played artistically to add to that story as we're experiencing it. But I'd like to think we're going to get more of that as it carries on, because she was a great character. I want more of her. We also have a brand new villain, Krytoon, I think the name was, who was fantastic and kind of odd, absurd, surreal kind of thing. He engages with like old black and white sepia tone comic books, which gives the artist time to play around with the color palettes and actually incorporate that into it. Now, the art is the thing that I'm absolutely going to rave about. I have absolutely no bad things to say about it. It takes from great artists that I already like, or at least takes things that they do well. Like there is some trad more in the line work and the fine detail and the flowing nature of it. There's a way of doing faces which is slightly, well, it moves away from being photorealistic, which I quite like. It allows them to basically throw some extra shape into the faces to add characterization through that way. The action sequences are superb. They play around with form and have things going between panels, which is really, really nice. Everything feels like it's full of energy. The new Batmobile, as they have it, they don't call it that, they call it the Blind Machine, looks absolutely fantastic. But the crowning glory of the entire thing for me is Batman himself. There is literally nothing wrong with his costume. It has gothic touches to it, which are fantastic. There is flourish, but it is also very utilitarian, and where these two things meld are absolutely brilliant. There's one little thing where you see around the neck there appears to be like lines of rolling armor. So Batman still can move his shoulders and neck really easy, but he still gets protected from it. And that on itself is kind of cool, but it also looks amazing and rolls into the pointy ears on top of the helmet, which looks fantastic. The cape always looks fantastic. Whenever it's in motion, it is superb. The boots have unusual flourishes on them, but they just add to the overall effect. There's definitely an effort made to still be intimidating in this costume, but it's also Art Deco in places. The actual Batman logo is more exciting than I've seen for quite some time. And these are small details. But when you take everything together, it just shows how much dedication there is to the character, just through the writing and the plot and everything else. But the art is the thing, and it's not just in the characters or how they're drawn in action sequences. There's also, as I've said before, sorry, a fly just got in here. There is fun with form. My favourite thing he does is having onomatopoeia be part of the paneling. I've said before in the comics, I really, really like it when I see this. But he even changes the font styling to add to the sound effect. Like if it's an electronic one, it adds the more angular kind of line work to it and puts it in as part of the paneling. And yeah, literally no complaints apart from that one little thing about the writing. But since we are dealing with like a very early Batman, when he is very determined that he's going to do everything the way he wants to do it, and he's still, I mean, not a kid, but he's still very early in his career, I think kind of being over the top and like really pushing verbosity and being very dramatic about everything, it does work. I'd like to think that the story is going to be a bit more focused, but even if it isn't, even if he carries on being a bit OTT over the entire thing, I'm absolutely fine with it. I loved it. I have no complaints other than that. And yeah, I think you're going to really enjoy it too. I think it's going to stand out as being an absolutely fantastic one. And one final thing, now over the 5 minutes, and it's no longer an important point, but this is a DC Black Label Batman book that is the right size. It's the same as regular comic books. It's fine like this, DC. Keep doing this. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll be back later on the review. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.